Welcome back to the Cuckoo Podcast. Welcome back, you guys. And welcome to the first and the first episode of a scary, spooky breakdown of the new movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm your host, Aria.
And I'm Benson, Beto 5.
And yeah, today we're going to do a breakdown of the new Conjuring movie.
Spoilers alert.
Major spoiler, like DJ Khaled says. It's a major alert. But yeah, we're going to do a breakdown from a legal standpoint and a kind of demonic standpoint, kind of just because the movie was interesting. It was a good plot, and it was interesting to say the least.
All right, before we do a little breakdown. Oh wait, we had something last week. Our episode
addressing last week's issue.
Our episode where we talked to Vitali, it got taken down on YouTube because they said we were spreading false information about the vaccine. So,
and I don't know if you guys actually listened to the podcast, because obviously they didn't listen. But Vitali kind of said he wasn't basically going to take it. We kind of told him that it's effective and it would be safe to take it. And obviously they got some misinformation. So I'm like, okay, so should you not take it then? So I don't know. You can still listen to it on Spotify.
We'll try to get it up on YouTube, but it's looking like it's probably not going to happen. I'll be honest.
But it's still on Spotify. It's still on Anchor. It's a pretty good episode. We dive into, if you listen to our even parts, it's a pretty good episode for conspiracy theories.
All right. For The Conjuring, I say we give a rating of the movie before we start talking about it. Out of 10, what would you give it?
Out of 10, I give it a 7 out of 10. In terms of like spookiness or scariness, it was más o menos. It was okay. It was, there was jump scares which got me, but overall, I wouldn't necessarily say it was scary, but I thought the plot was interesting. There were so many good story concept and ideas that I thought were good in it.
I agree. I would give it maybe a 7.5, maybe a little more than a 7.
I'll give it an 8.
You already gave it a 7. You don't get to change yours.
True, but not even.
I agree. I thought the plot was actually pretty good, which is something that most horror movies lack. Usually the plot in horror movies is just awful.
Yeah.
And there were a few good jump scares. The animation I thought was pretty good. So,
yeah, and I think he's right. Most horror movies, you just try to go for the jump scares. This did have jump scares, but the plot and storyline was a lot better. And it's actually pretty, for the most part, accurate to the real life story of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson.
Good old Arnie. Arn. Spelled A-R-N-E. Arn.
Arn, matey.
All right, so we kind of want to focus for this episode. We mostly want to focus on the trial.
So yeah, we won't go deep into the summary, but we're going to give a short, brief summary about the whole movie, and Benson can take over from here.
If you haven't seen it yet, definitely I would recommend go and watch it before you listen to this. But
yeah, break it down for them.
Okay,
my guy.
So as far as the trial goes, I'll just break that down mostly. There's a very nice young dude. He's the boyfriend of this family. So this family is trying to rent a house, and a demon possesses the kid. This guy, this boyfriend of the girl of the family. Oh, this is bad. Anyways, he wants to get the demon out of the kid, and so he invites the demon into himself, and so the demon goes into him. This guy's name is Arnie. Arnie then, a week later, kills his landlord, viciously. And in the movie, it portrays him as seeing the landlord as a demon. He's in some fever dream,
mm-hmm.
and he sees the landlord as a demon. And so, in the trial, the argument is that he was under demonic possession for this murder. And so that's kind of the breakdown.
And long story short, he gets convicted in the movie 5 years for a manslaughter charge.
First degree manslaughter.
We can break it down from an IRL, a sane person, I guess, standpoint.
All right. Yeah, so I have a question for you.
Spit it at me, Junior.
First off, right off the bat, do you think people should be able to use demonic possession as a defense?
Short answer, nope. Long answer, yeah, you can use it, but you're not gonna get any type of successful result. I mean, imagine you just go to court. Why did you kill this man, sir? I was possessed by the devil. Like, no, that's
not gonna hold up.
Like, yes, you can use it, but realistically, no, that you would not get out of any charges if you use that defense strategy.
Even in the actual case, which we've looked up, they say that they actually were not able to end up using that as their defense.
That's a cool. Get this: the people, David and not David, Arnie and Debbie, the people who are like
the
trying to
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Arnie the guy. They said they did not believe in demonic activities themselves, and so for them to kind of go on this narrative or having this mindset of being possessed, it's kind of like sus,
It's a little sus.
Imagine like
everyone around them Everyone around them seemed to believe it, though.
And so, yeah, maybe I'm thinking like they're like, what? Maybe this might work. Maybe we might get away with murder, But in reality, they didn't believe in it. So I think I'm calling cap. Like I think he committed the murder. I mean,
he just had like a moment of bloodlust.
Did you explain why he committed the murder? Like IR, like the real life story?
Okay, well, the landlord, they lived with this guy. What was his name again?
I do not remember his name. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Anyway, they live with this guy.
Bono.
And Bono, in what really happened, they go to a bar. The couple and Bono go to a bar. They come back. Bono gets super drunk at the bar.
Yeah.
So when they get back to the house, he's like all over Debbie, and he won't let go of her. And he's just like starts freaking out and having like a manic, crazy. It's just a moment.
So what it says is that Bono became really agitated, and he was holding Mary and refused to let go. And then so the two men, Arnie
he
and
was
Bono,
holding Debbie or a different girl.
He was holding Mary. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to mess you up, but Benson knows the story. But anyways, the two guys, Arnie and Bono, get in a confrontation.
Okay.
So this is kind of where it picks up.
Yeah. So Bono's holding one of these girls.
Yes.
There's another girl. There were other girls that lived
her
there.
sister, actually.
Okay. In the movie, it shows him holding Debbie.
So yeah, sorry. That's why I got confused. In the movie, it was portrayed as he was kind of holding and being aggressive towards Debbie, but I guess in real life, it was
one
her
of the other
9-year-old
girls.
cousin. Yes.
Oh, jeez. Okay. And this agitates Arnie. And in real life, it says he just basically went berserk and just started stabbing him. In the movie, he sees Bono. Bono's like trying to talk to him and help him, but Bono, in Arnie's eyes, is like a demon.
And you see that he at the end he rushes towards him and demon like. He grabs
So
a
the
pocket knife.
movie definitely makes it seem more like Arnie's not in the wrong.
Yeah, but in real life, I mean, it's hard to say because he was drinking and whatnot. But I mean, I think he was kind of. There was a confrontation. He saw that he was holding this girl and like wasn't letting go, and so I think he just kind of maybe lost his temper and killed him out of frustration. And who knows? I didn't see anything if they were drinking. I wonder if they were drinking as well. If Arnie was, I mean, and so maybe
it says only Bono was drunk.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that maybe he could have been a little bit intoxicated. I mean, that's just my personal belief. But I mean, there's no case trial, so I don't know if they even tested on that. But I mean, it could have been even being under the influence and maybe something happened. But anyways, yeah, I think he kind of killed him out of anger. And
well, I think so too. I don't think he was actually possessed.
And yeah, and
in real life.
So and I kind of want to go into the kind of the legal proceedings and whatnot. And so, like we said, they hired or they brought on because the Warrens had been working with their little brother or Debbie's little brother David on a demonic possession. And so, anyways, they're like, oh, they hired the Warrens, right? And to kind of help them out with that possession, and like, hey, Arnie. Yeah, Horny. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the movie in real life, so I'm kind of my brain's a little bit foggy right now. So they're like, could you help us with this? Because David's demon has been transferred to me. She's like, oh, we gotta help them with this. So they go to the lawyer. They tell her, oh, he was possessed and the crime was committed by the devil or something. So anyways, they go in front of a judge. Just realize the movie was accurate. They said he was possessed when the crime happened, so therefore he is not liable, I guess, for the murder.
That was their defense.
And one interesting part that we were reading here, and I'm not sure, is that the Warrens and their agents were promised a book, a movie, and even lectures to go out from this case. So I have a feeling that the Warrens...
They had financial gain from this.
Yes, that is the perfect thing to say. Yes, they had a lot of things to gain from this. And I feel like that's why this narrative was pushed. And then for a guy, like we said earlier, didn't believe in demonic possession. And so, I mean, I don't want to say anything about the Warrens, but they had a lot to gain. I mean, now the movie's out. There's been lectures, there's been books. So I guess ultimately it worked out.
Documentaries.
And this is a heavily
movies before this.
Yeah, this is a heavily covered media thing around the world, you know. And so they just kind of went with the narrative. And I mean, I personally don't think. I mean, I don't know what to think of someone who wants to take advantage of someone for personal gain. And I'm not saying that's the case for the Warrens, but it certainly sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally just don't actually think he was possessed demonically. I just can't.
And then
it seems like that's like the only reason they stuck with it to me.
Yeah, and I mean,
enjoyed the movie.
The movie's good. Even in the movie, they talked about how there were like 2 other lawyers or cases that had been involved with demonic possession, and even in the real life, it says how the lawyer flew out and like nothing really happened, but they talked to them and like, anyways, like kind of just seeing what they can do from a defense standpoint. But I'm thinking about this from, I guess, from the lawyer's perspective, you know, the attorneys. Like, how would you argue this case, you know? Because I don't know, like this really does.
How could you argue that?
I mean, but you know, whether you believe in possession or demons is kind of a personal belief. Because can you prove that? I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I don't want to. Some people claim they've seen stuff, like they don't like talking about that, joking about that. But like personally, and from the eye of the law, I don't know if that's a word to use, but.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like I just don't see how you could argue this. Like, how would you? You have no evidence, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no tangible, physical anything that supports that.
Like
how can you? I just trying to use that as your defense. Like even it says in real life, they're not even able to actually end up using that as their defense.
Yeah, because I mean,
they end up going with he was acting in self-defense. That's what their defense is.
I mean, even if you look at like at the end of the movie, they play like the real recordings, but I mean, the only recordings they have are of David. So I mean, if you were even hypothetically argue this case, you only have evidence that David was possessed from the real life.
So even if you could prove it,
yeah, they had nothing for HORNY. Like literally, this man just killed this dude. They argued this, and I think it's for financial gain. There's no evidence. So I'm like, how would a lawyer go up there like? Well, you see, we had a couple priests come here, and they evaluated him, and he is possessed. And so, I mean, technically, he was not possessed. It was a totem, and so, like...
He was cursed.
He was cursed. The curse of Law David. HORNY. But yeah, so anyways, so yeah, like he could read, because I think they had him read from the Bible, like holy water, all these things, so, like, it made no sense for possession, but, yeah, from a legal standpoint, I don't see how you'd argue that. And so, it's kind of went, like... And I mean, honestly, saying and acting self-defense actually kind of did make sense. Like, if he was really harming, like he claims, like Debbie's in real life 9-year-old cousin.
Yeah,
I don't know.
In that
like,
case,
he was drunk. You never know. Like, the thing makes sense. I mean, he did kind of stab him a few too many times in self-defense.
Yeah, maybe like. I don't know, like 15 or 20 extra times.
My guy, you know, Mr. HORNY, did you have murderous intent?
It said, when we were reading about it, that there was a stab wound all the way from his heart to stomach or something.
Okay, that, yeah.
Like that's just straight up.
So there's a point where I think self-defense can be thrown out, because what Benson said, if there's a stab wound that large, like, I feel like it was pretty intentional. Like, you had murderous intent.
I think he just saw red. He just had bloodlust in that moment.
And I mean, yeah, like you see someone that you love or you're close to being, I don't know what he claims, like she was being held by Bono. So, I mean, maybe he just got angry. Maybe he was drinking. Like I said, we don't know a lot of the facts. But yeah, I it's really hard to argue that he was acting in self-defense. I mean, he kind of was, but at the same time, like the big stab.
Can you even justify stabbing him there, though?
Like, I get it. Like, And that's the thing, like I get it, like if something happened, but like that's the thing.
From
Like,
what I've read, I don't think you could even justify
I mean, if you look at a lot of the
stabbing.
even nowadays, like the stand your ground law, like if you look at that, like how people have been shot and then claim self defense, like a lot of the time, I think people either in the heat of the moment or maybe they fear for their lives shoot someone, but really there was no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the stand your ground law is kind of like, I don't know, this obviously isn't, I don't know if it's a state that has that, but it's kind of funky in that I guess way. So like really, like even nowadays you can't prove that this guy was going to hurt you because he's dead. Like how are you going to prove that,
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, I guess what did the judge show? In real life, he got convicted of a first degree manslaughter, which is serves to a 10 to 25 year to life. I don't know.
He was convicted for 10 to 20 years, but he got out in 5 for good behavior.
Yeah, like imagine
so
like
he brutally murdered someone,
Yeah.
stabbed them like 24 times or something, like viciously, violently.
like, ching,
And
ching,
5 years
ching.
later, back to normal life.
Yeah, like, and he actually ended up marrying Debbie in prison, like that. No, 5 years, I mean, that's still a lot of time, but for getting away with murder, like 5 years, like sheesh,
He's still alive today.
Still alive. So, Arnie, if you're listening to this, please don't kill me. We're just kind of breaking this down.
Yeah, nothing against you, dude.
I'd love to have a cup
I'd
of
be
coffee
pissed.
with you.
I'd be pissed if my landlord was holding.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to interview you. You want to be a guest? Come on. But yeah, I was surprised the 5 years. That was a short time, and I mean,
in the movie, does it? I can't remember. Does it show at all like the result of the court?
I think it did say the result. Remember at the end, it just said he just got served. He served 5 years for manslaughter.
Oh, so it just said like what actually happened.
Yeah, and so it didn't break it down, but basically, yeah, it didn't show the ruling, but just kind of cut off in the words and say that. And I'm surprised. Like I said, I know I've been emphasizing that point, but like, if you follow or know anything about law, like killing someone in just 5 years, I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess the lawyer did something good, I mean, not really. I mean, he might have just got out for good behavior and like. Who knows? It was the 1980s. He's white. Let him go.
This guy's white. This is probably justified. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he killed a white dude? Wait, maybe not.
Wait, but was he white? He looks like a good, young, hardworking kid. He has so much potential. Let him go. And I think it probably really was like, he's probably had good behavior. Like, this is Connecticut.
He hasn't done anything since.
Yeah, so good job, Arnie, for staying clean, you big dog.
Maybe he was possessed.
Wait, I'm not going to go into our next question. Do you believe demonic possession is real?
Do I believe demonic possession is real? Short answer, no. Long answer, still pretty short, no.
Why? Explain.
I don't know. I've just had nothing in my life happen for me to think that it's real. I've never witnessed anything where I've thought like someone was genuinely possessed. And like if someone's acting very crazy or strange, then you could argue then that maybe there's like something wrong mentally. And a lot of times that is the case, and they just need the proper medication and treatment. And like I don't know, I've never actually seen anything that would tell me that demonic possession is real in my life. What about you?
Do you really know what I think about it?
Yeah, I do really want to know.
I'm calling cap. There's no such thing. I don't want to say there's no such thing. Kind of like Benson. Short answer, no. Long answer, no as well. Same. I'm in the same boat where I haven't seen it. I mean, I've heard stories. People like, oh, you don't joke about that. But I think that, I mean, when I was younger and growing up, like high school, whatever, like, I'm like, dude, it's freaking real. Like, we're not messing with that. As I've gone to college and gone older, I'm like, I see them from a kind of like a logical standpoint where I'm like, yeah, I think this is not like especially if you actually look into a lot of exorcisms and possessions, like the victim, I'm gonna say victim here, usually had some sort of abuse or anything growing up. If you look in the famous ones, mm-hmm. I don't know off the top of my head, but like they had like, oh, this person was
huge role player. Is
abuse
in childhood?
Abuse is a big one of them. Like malnourishment, all these things, and so that's where they like lose weight. That's where they go crazy, like And so if you really look at it, yeah, most of these have had some sort of abuse involved with them, and maybe when you get abused, you develop maybe some sort of even psychological or even psychopathic traits, and and that can cause you to act crazy and whatnot. But really, for the most part, yeah, you can explain most of these in like a logical standpoint, like, yeah, this is abuse, like this is why she's acting like this. Like you could have a psychologist basically go in instead of a priest and diagnose a victim as like a victim. Yeah, like this is a person suffering, and I mean most cases are, and I think, yeah, I mean like a lot of people say you have to see it. Like I mean, maybe I will see it. People are like, oh, Arya, you don't want to see it. That's not stuff you mess with. I haven't seen it, so maybe there is. I just haven't seen it as well. But I mean, maybe there is like some sort of spirituality aspect to it.
All right, so here's a question: do you believe in ghosts?
No. I mean, I can get freaked out. Like I go to an abandoned like mental asylum. Yeah, I'll be freaked out. But like I ain't gonna see like Casper, walking around. Like I don't believe in that. Like I mean, maybe I'll hear like, what the fuck was that? But but in reality, no, I do not believe. I mean, it's hard to say because sometimes you'll feel spiritual, and that's a great question. And I guess feeling spiritual and like maybe believing like I'm feeling spiritual like maybe with a deceased loved one, but I don't believe that you can ghosts or possessions by ghosts. What about you?
I'm gonna say maybe to ghosts.
Maybe, okay, why?
I said no to demonic possession. I don't think like ghosts or demons can like control us or like even interact very much with this world, but I think there's a possibility that like there could be ghosts out there, and I think, I mean, even maybe not from a scientific standpoint, you could say maybe they're just creatures on a different dimension or something.
I never thought of it
because I 100% believe in aliens.
Okay, this is not gonna think about aliens.
So why can't creatures exist on different dimensions? And what if that dimension is like crossing over where we are?
Let me say this. I think the more religious you are and more spiritual you are, the more likely you are to believe in possessions and ghosts and whatnot. And then I guess if vice versa, if you're not, then you don't believe in it. And I'm saying that I'm not, and it goes back to the same thing. I haven't experienced it. Now I've experienced a lot of it, I guarantee you. But I haven't experienced anything with ghosts and anything like that. I mean, yeah, I've sometimes felt spiritual and whatnot, like, like what's going on, but nothing, I guess, at that level.
I actually have a ghost living at my apartment. His name's Timothy. He's a little prankster. He only haunts my roommate.
So little Timothy haunts little Cameron.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah. He does stuff like drops eggs on the floor, turns off the TV.
Stole bank account.
Like I don't believe in it in this case because
like all I think is like, are you sure, Cameron? You didn't did I commit that? No, that was little Timothy.
But like everything that's happened, I feel like is explainable though.
And maybe
I haven't had like an experience that like definitively proves the existence of ghosts to me. That's why I said maybe. But I could see like there being creatures like on a different plane of existence or something.
Like when I used to watch the show Ghost Hunters or whatever, Ghost Adventures when I was younger, I'm like, damn, these guys are really out there with ghosts. But now I see them, I'm like, is this real? Like it's kind of like staged. It kind of looks like
so
like
staged.
Like yeah, it seems like it's all cap. But like when you ask a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I got ghost stories. I'm like, okay, let's hear them. I'm like, oh, I can't tell them. I don't want to say them. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. So I'm like, and I know you're not supposed to talk about that stuff because it can invite bad energy, but. Maybe one day, maybe me and Benson will just have to go to a haunted place, mental asylum, Skinwalker Ranch, wherever it could be. We're going to have to be like...
Put ourselves in that position where like we're inviting it to happen.
Yeah, we're going to have to bring the camera, like I'm going to have the GoPro selfie style, and I have the mic. I'm like, hello, this is Cuckoo. We're doing interviews with ghosts. If you're here, like, please say you're here. See if anything happens, That'd be a cool video to do one day.
That would be cool.
You taught a lot of cool haunted little places we could go to.
All right. So, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about for The Conjuring? If not, I have a question for you.
Conjuring, I thought overall movie was good, and I thought the real life thing was really justifiable. I think he got the right sentencing he deserved. Because, like, if I was the victim's family, I'd be like, yeah, I want this man to be in prison, like, demonic possession. Like, how crazy is that? But in the end, he only served 5 years. So, yeah, that is my take on The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie as a movie. Like, it was a great movie.
Acting was good.
Acting was good. Animation was good. Plot was good. As far as the actual trial goes, I think it's pretty ridiculous that you could try and use that as a defense, and I think it's good that in real life, the court wouldn't let that happen, and he did get convicted for first-degree manslaughter. I think it's actually pretty crazy. His sentence was so short that he got out after 5 years.
I would like to know why it was short, but like you said, we don't have the information.
Said good behavior.
Seriously, come on, good behavior. He killed someone, but he's been doing good. Let him out. Like that's how the logic is.
Yeah, I don't know. But
so what was your question?
So I guess I'm a little bit unhappy with how short he was in.
If I was the victim's family, I'd be like, "Bruh, are you serious?"
Like I wouldn't even want him back out at all after stabbing someone that viciously and savagely.
Yeah, like the.
But if it truly was like in self-defense, if he was worried about his cousin or his fiance's cousin,
yeah,
her girlfriend's cousin being harmed, then I think defending her is definitely all right, but still just so savage.
And it kind of goes back to the question, like, what is self-defense? Like, what cases or, situations can you justify self-defense? And I don't know, for this case, I don't think it's justified.
It's a tricky topic.
It's very tricky from a legal standpoint.
It's very tricky. It's a very tricky thing to understand.
Wait, we're getting off topic. What was your question you're going to ask me? I'm curious.
My question for you is, since you don't believe... Okay. Since you don't believe in, like, ghosts and possession and, like, the paranormal,
mm-hmm.
What attracts you so much to horror movies?
I just love horror, and like I said, I wasn't recently, and I'm a criminology major, so, like, I really look into, like, criminal aspect of things. And, like, I love, probably my favorite type of genre is horror movies. And I love it, but, like, growing up, yeah, I mean, I'm like, I just, like, I'm not going to doubt the existence of spirits or ghosts, but I think more logically now, basically, to answer your question. And, like, I see things from a legal standpoint. And I'm not sure if you have the same type of, response to that same question. I'm gonna throw that question back at you. Uno reverse card.
Uno reverse card me.
Like, why do you think that? I mean, are you? So
why do I like horror movies?
So why do you like horror movies? And then B, you don't believe in demonic possessions, but you believe in ghosts. What's
the second question there? What's B?
That is B. Like, so how can you believe in ghosts don't believe in, like, possessions, but you believe in ghosts?
Okay, well, I'll answer A first. I love horror movies just because of the adrenaline rush I get from it. Even if I don't believe in, like, being possessed or I don't believe in what's happening in the movie, you're still watching the movie with the volume really loud up. You're, like, in the movie, and it's intense. It's scary. And I like jump scares. I like just intense scenes. I don't know.
I agree with you on that.
I think they're just fun to watch with friends.
Yeah,
mostly.
It's definitely a fun thing to have with a big group.
And then B, how can I believe in ghosts, in quotation marks, and not demonic possession?
Yeah.
So when I answered before, I was saying maybe ghosts are, like, on a different dimension. What if ghosts are just on a different dimension and they, like, do little tiny things that can interact with our world?
Like, what type of tiny things?
I don't know.
Because I've never heard this theory. It's a cool theory.
It's like, okay, so everyone goes, like, the religious direction when they're talking about ghosts, right? They're
yes.
Like, that makes sense with religion. But what about trying to make sense of it through science? What if...
I don't see it through science. What? Keep going, sorry.
What if our dimension... So we live in the third dimension, right?
Okay.
Like, there's 3 dimensions. We live in a third dimension world, right?
Okay, yes.
We're in space, time, objects have 3 dimensions. All right. What if you move up a level and you get creatures that can travel across time. Like, have you ever seen Interstellar before?
Actually, not.
Their explanation of what goes on in black holes is when you enter a black hole, you're traveling through time.
That's true, right? From like
he goes into a black hole, the main character. He sees his daughter's room in the past, and he does something to manipulate it. Like he pushes books off of a shelf through the black hole.
Oh.
And so what if there's creatures that can interact with our world like that? They can move across time and have little interactions like that. Just like little unexplainable things.
Okay, now that kind of makes sense. Like
that was kind of like my thought on how you'd explain it scientifically.
Interesting. I it's definitely more feasible than.
Because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Like, how can you explain it like not from a religious?
So, what's spirituality then in that aspect?
What do you mean?
Is it like the same thing? Like, what happens when you feel spiritual?
I don't know. Maybe their existence being close to you at that time has an impact on you.
I'm gonna do a quick test. I'm gonna conduct a hypothesis.
Okay.
If there's anyone here from the fourth dimension, please knock over something and make it known.
Oh my! Are you?
What the fuck was that?
Okay.
No, yeah, it's a cool. Actually, I like that more than saying there's ghosts. I like the dimension.
It's just
thing.
like a theory, but
I like to break that theory down more.
I'm not gonna like just say like ghosts aren't real, but I have been like thinking about it a lot lately, and like I was like, how could you explain it from a scientific standpoint? And that's what I came up with.
Let me say this. Now I kind of want to say, going back to fencing, I think I agree. Yes, there could be, but I think everything can be explained. Like, there's nothing we can say like, well, we can't explain that. I think there's some sort of logical explanation to everything.
Exactly,
young one.
What if they're okay? Not everything can logically be explained.
What do you mean?
Like, there's stuff we just don't understand yet.
Well, that's like space and stuff, but like...
Yeah, like creatures in the fourth dimension.
But I mean, like... yes, you got me there. But like, you can explain like most of these like hauntings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I understand what
I mean,
you're
it's
saying.
definitely creepy. Like, you go to like maybe some more like house where people murder, like you feel like the cold, bad vibes from it.
Yeah.
You can't explain that, I guess. You can't.
Yeah, I think there's just like... I don't know. Maybe like just our emotions, or like there's something going on in the back of our head. Just like
you're in your head
doing something to make us feel ways that we can't understand. We're like, oh,
I agree.
Maybe there are spirits here because I feel cold. I don't know.
Dang, now it makes me want to go to like somewhere haunted and try it out and see. I mean, what if people always tell me, Aria, don't mess with that type of stuff. But I guess the only way we find out is if we do.
I think we should get a Ouija board. How are you even like... You just said you don't believe in any of this stuff at all.
I've heard so many people tell me, Arya, do not mess with the Ouija board. And so I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm going to do my research. And we will come back. We're going to put a bookmark in this and we'll come back to it.
All right. Sounds good. I think we should definitely do a Ouija board, though.
If this video or whoever's listening to it gets over 1,000 views, we'll do it.
Over 1,000 views?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
I
guess we're not going to be doing a Ouija board.
Oh, you doubt your abilities. This is going to get to 1,000 views. I have a feeling.
Okay. All right.
We'll do it on camera, and it'll be on the YouTube channel.
I'm excited.
All right, let's make it happen. And I guess any last notes?
Any last thoughts? I guess just in conclusion, I don't think you should be able to use the paranormal as a defense in a trial. I think that's just insulting to the judge
and to the victim's family.
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Even more to the victim's family.
Yeah. I would love to hear your guys' feedback on this.
Yeah,
I feel like so many people have different viewpoints and thoughts about this. So if you
what are your guys' opinions
Yeah.
on a trial case like this? And then, do you guys believe in ghosts? Do you guys believe in demonic possession? Do you guys...
Let us know.
What do you guys think of the fourth dimension theory?
Maybe
I'm curious.
we should. This is a lot of Just let us know. Like,
I'm not saying I 100% believe in what I said. I'm just saying that that's my best attempt at like an explanation scientifically how ghosts could exist.
And like maybe in the future we'll break down more of these like horror ghost stories and try to explain them, I guess. And I guess with the feedback you guys are going to give us, maybe we have more evidence or more things to prove either case, either side. So it's like whether it's legal and or spiritual or ghost aspect.
Yeah, that'd be fun to take.
Let us know
cases involving ghosts. Try to explain them.
Yeah, just messages at the Cuckoo Podcast, either Instagram
Anchor.
comments. Even our personals at Ari Fatana and at Benson Tippets.
Yeah,
just message us and we can kind of debate, I guess, or even get different viewpoints.
We can have a heated argument.
Yes,
and we'll both take one side and just try to defend
Donnie,
it
if
as
you're listening to
valiantly as
this,
we can.
get in on this. We're having a heated argument.
All right. Well,
thanks for listening, I guess. Working to get the other last week's podcast back up. Like we said, feedback, thoughts, opinions, let us know. And just follow us on social medias at the Cuckoo Podcast and then at our own Ari Fatine at Benson Tippets.
And remember to stay
horny.